Today's cryptocurrency is Ape, otherwise known as its ticker code Ape. This is a crypto that did very, very well in July. I was looking at it, I was like, man, Ape is doing such an amazing job at really beating most of the market. Crypto is a very cyclical market, which means that different cryptos perform very, very differently in very different time periods. And Ape was one of the top performers in July, but in August, it has pulled right back down. One of the things I do when I look for cryptos, and I encourage you to do the same, is really think about your risk. Everyone wants to buy the crypto that's already pumped 20, 30%. And while it could go higher, I'm not saying that at all, it's better to find a crypto that is much more safer and continuously get your gains upon gains with better and better cryptos that are more safer. That's the way to really invest, in my opinion, for those massive fortunes. You want to be able to get to the point where you can put a lot of money onto one crypto and really reduce your risk, because you'll be happy with just 10, 20, 30, 40%. And if it goes more than that, by all means, that's more profits for you. So I'm going to demonstrate that with Ape because I think it's a very, very safe crypto at the moment, just in terms of the principles I apply. And hopefully you can get something out of this video too. This video is not financial, trading, or investment advice in any way, shape, or form. This is purely for entertainment and for educational purposes only. Always remember that forecasting in any sector is incredibly difficult, but the financial sector is by far and away the most difficult to forecast. My analysis is based off Gann and Wyckoff methodologies. If you're a fan of altcoin reviews in an honest format, then you've come to the right place, and every week I cover the market update. Lastly, it's not about being right or wrong that matters. It's about what you do when you're right or wrong that matters most. All right, let's get to today's crypto. So let's have a look at Ape. Now, like I said, Ape during August has really been sold off. Now, if you're familiar with my channel, you know I talk about Wyckoff analysis a lot, and one of the things that stood out to me was this bar here on the 19th of August, and again the bar on the 20th of August. Notice how we have very, very high volume, and we closed 11% down. Not a good look for Ape. But the next day we actually had decreased selling, so we had under our 30-day moving average, and we closed mid on the bar. If you're familiar with my channel, you know how much I talk about this. Strength is found on the down days. You can see we had under average volume. Let me draw that better. We had under average volume and we closed mid on the bar, which means that we only had a price spread of negative 1.41%, which is very, very low considering we had a massive sell-off of 11%. So theoretically, generally speaking, we should get 8% and 7% negative days until the bleeding sort of stops. But in this one, the bleeding stopped almost immediately the next day, closing mid on the bar, under average selling volume, and that's immediately when you start to get the trend reverse. Also, notice these bars, how they're quite, they start to get higher slightly. Okay, see how they're getting slightly higher? Really good sign, you're getting some green days. And this is what I mean. You don't want a crypto that's already pumped 20, 30%, because by then, I mean, how much juice is left in the squeeze, especially in a bear market. But with something like Ape, you've got increased volume, closed high up on the bar. You can see we've got a bit of a tail here, which means that people tried to sell Ape, but it got bought back up immediately and bought back up right at the top. Closed really high on the strong at the top of the bar, which means that, again, people are pushing the price up. The next day, you get another one as well, where it has a bit of a tail on low volume. So people are selling their Ape a little bit, but it gets bought back up immediately. And that's when I knew this crypto is going to do really well. Then the next day, we actually have a go at the 50%, which is right there at this yellow golden line here at $5.43. That's this one here. And then we sort of poke our head above it, but we come back down. It needs more time. And I knew that Ape was probably going to get a close above it. Now, we do have another 16 hours left of the day. So hopefully, by the end of that close, we do close on this yellow golden line here, signaling its strength and confirming its strength. And this is where your risk analysis comes in, right? How much are you risking on the table? How much is this crypto going to go down? Should it go down? Well, we know that these bars represent significant support, right? Because the bleeding has finally stopped. So again, what's your stop loss? Do you want to go underneath the current bar, 3.6%? Underneath the mid bar where it had the up thrust and tried to go up higher, but got brought back up? Well, your risk from the price where it is currently now at the 50%, 7%. If you go to the next bar, 10%, 12%. So that's actually not that bad for cryptos to actually be risking 10, 12%. It's up to the individual, of course, how much you're willing to risk, especially if you're going to use something like leverage. But what I'm trying to say is that you can already see in this chart the selling stopping. You can see that the bleeding is starting to really come to a close. Whereas when you are getting a crypto that's already 20, 30% up, it's going to cost the whales a lot of money to keep pumping up that price. Now they can do it, it will be expensive for them, but they'll only do it if they see a lot of gains in their book. So like, hitting people's who's shorting, hitting their losses, if they know something that we don't in terms of market announcements and things like that. But generally speaking, it's better to go for a crypto that the bleeding has stopped. And in my opinion, as of this recording right now, I think Ape's bleeding has stopped and we're going to go higher. If you've watched my market update video, I'll link it up the top. You know how I talked about crypto got significant support just the last 2 days. Really good support, in fact, and we had a bit of a big tail and now we're going to go higher. So I think altcoins are a fantastic purchase in my opinion in terms of a trade. No, it's not financial advice. I'm not saying hodl onto these coins for 10, 15 years, whatever ridiculous number you want to throw at it. Like I said, crypto is very cyclical. Now, what about price targets? Well, our first price target is actually going to be this resistance point where we had the swing top at around that $5.65 mark, which would just be right here. Okay. The next mark would actually be this other swing top that we had, which is about that $6.40, which is about 18% increase from where it currently is. That's how you know Ape can have a lot of juice in it, because it hasn't been squeezed yet like some of these other ones. Let's have a look at another one. Okay, the next swing top or the swing bottom here is around that $6.66 mark, and the next top is $7.17. So that's this bottom here, which will become old resistance, and then this top here, which will become resistance as well. And then you're playing at the top for the cyclical cycle, which is around that $7.80 mark, which we touched on the 3rd of August before getting this massive bleeding run. So it's a very safe investment. You can see support has come into the market. You've calculated your risk, you've calculated your profit target. Could it keep going above $7.80? Absolutely, absolutely you can. And again, it comes down to how well you want to trail your position as it's continuing to unfold. Do you want to risk more? You want to risk 20%? It's up to you. But my analysis is there just to show that this is a safe investment. It's a good investment. I like to get the cryptos while they're in the infancy stage. I don't like to get them as they've already broken out such a high amount, unless that you really know how to handle your risk really well. It does come up sometimes, say 50% and swing tops and things like that. But generally speaking, I like to see the bleeding stop and then start to maybe think about entering a position once it reveals its strength, such as Ape. Again, there's your sell-off, there's your push for higher prices. But we have to see how it develops, because it's crypto market, it's still a bear market. You expect to drop at any point. The beauty of where we are at the moment is retail has completely left the market. So all the whales are just versing each other, and hence there's not much supply in the market because they have deep pockets and they're buying all these cryptos, hence there's not much supply, and that's why you're getting a much more sustained move these last 2 months. Let's compare Ape against its ETH value to see how it's doing against. Now I have the Ape against its ETH chart, and you can see why I love ETH so much, because most altcoins will not be able to beat Ethereum long term. This is why I say take your trades and move if you have a good altcoin that's pumping, because in the long term, you will have something like this where you just have a downtrend. Now, Ape is starting to make its way. You can see support coming at the 25 mark. And again, very similar to its USD chart when I was showing you, you had a tail end on the 19th of August and support came in to support the market. For Ape, we have a bit of a head on this one. So we tried to push the price up against its ETH value, but coming down. And you can just see, guys, how well it looks when you look at an ETH chart. You can see you really got to pinpoint these things. Most cryptos can't hold a candle to ETH. So that's why I like to show these ETH charts just to see what you're battling against. You're hoping that this downtrend will actually go up. And it might go up like it went up here. And it goes up, and this is your time to make your profit. Now again, you can't time the top, but you can see that against ETH, this thing will probably not do it. So make your trades and then put them into Bitcoin and ETH. That's what Jason Pizzino really recommended in his channel, and it completely made sense to me at the time. And I do that every day now as well. If we have a look at Ape against its BTC value, you can see it's faring much, much more stronger. And that's because BTC has been struggling lately. And you can see perfect bounce off is 50%, and you can see really coming in. So again, these are your bleeding periods. Bleeding finally stops. You get your bounce, and now we'll probably just be bouncing up here. Hopefully we start to make our way higher, and then that will be our top, and we'll see how Ape reacts there. Of course, resistance will come in at this swing top here and this swing bottom where we currently are at. And then after that, we can probably start seeing where we're going to land somewhere in this middle area, hopefully before we start making it that swing top here. It's not to say it can't go higher. You can definitely go higher, but we have to take it as it comes as the market unfolds, because you're already seeing in the BTC chart that you were seeing that the volume, and it was just having a lot of heads and it was struggling to get to a higher ground. And like I said, once these sell-offs come, I mean, they can come off really, really bad. So this is why I say I don't like to get cryptos on their pumps, because once they start pouring down, they can really, really hurt you. And you really don't want to be putting large amounts of money at these tops here when you start to see signs of weakness. So that's going to do it for this short video on Ape. Again, I love it. I think it's a fantastic crypto at the moment, really showing signs of wanting to go higher. And I really love this crypto because of its risk management. You're not risking a lot here. You're not risking these massive 30-40% losses like you are with some of these other cryptos that have pumped so far 40-50%. That's just not really good risk management. But that's just my own trading philosophy. Let me know your trading philosophy in the back. Again, if you're investing, Bitcoin and ETH are still fantastic buys in my opinion. Not financial advice, but I think where it currently is now is a really good sweet spot. Things are looking up for now. We'll see how the market goes. If you enjoyed this content, hit the like and subscribe button. It does help a small channel like mine grow. Until then, everyone stay safe, and I will catch you on the next video.